Good morning, children. We are on the sixth chapter of Beehive book, My Childhood, which is an autobiography of Abdul APJ Kalam, Wings of Fire. We started this lesson yesterday, and we did where he was born and where he lived, then about his parents and about his brothers and sisters. So we did this yesterday, and we'll continue today. We will start with the third paragraph, which is on page number 69. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. So he says that in 1939 the Second World War started, and at that time he was 8 years old. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. So he says that during the World War, why there was a sudden demand for tamarind seeds, he doesn't know. He says that he doesn't know. He is not able to understand. But then the demand for tamarind seeds erupted, and I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. So he says that because of the demand of the tamarind seeds, he also started collecting the tamarind seeds and sold them off at a provision shop which was on Mosque Street. So he used to sell these tamarind seeds. Now tamarind is imli. So he used to sell these the seeds to the provision shop, and for this he used to get a good amount of money, that was 1 anna. 1 anna is a generous amount, and so he says that he used to get 1 anna for the tamarind seeds. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. So now he says that his brother-in-law Jalaluddin was the husband of his sister, and he says that he used to tell Abdul stories of the war, and later which he used to read in the headlines of a newspaper, of a Tamil local newspaper, that was Dinamani. Our area, being isolated, was completely unaffected by the war. So he says where he used to live, it was a secluded area, it was a cut off land from the main town, and so he was, that is why that the area he was, the area was unaffected by the war. And then soon India was forced to join the Allied forces, and something like a state of emergency was declared. So now at this crucial time when there was a war going on in the world, so at that point of time India was also asked to join the forces, to join the army, the UK, USA and Russian army, and a state of emergency was declared. State of emergency means when the president rule was imposed, when president rule was carried on, and because of the crucial situation, the country had to go under a curfew. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. So now he says the first casualty, the loss that came, it was the suspension, that means the stop of the stopping of the train halt. So earlier the train used to stop at Rameshwaram station, but then due to the war, due to the emergency declared, the train now no longer used to stop at Rameshwaram station, so it used to go further. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. So now earlier when the train used to stop at Rameshwaram, the newspaper bundles were also taken out from the train. But now because of the emergency, because the train was not, it was the orders that the train will now not stop at Rameshwaram. And so what used to happen, the bundles of the newspapers were not, they were just thrown at the station of Rameshwaram, because the train never used to stop there. And because of that, they used to just throw the newspaper bundles at the Rameshwaram station, and between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. That forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspapers in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as if naturally I filled the slot. So now what happened, that Abdul's cousin Samsuddin, he used to pick up those, he used to distribute the newspaper in Rameshwaram. Now because the train never stopped at Rameshwaram, so the bundles were just thrown out of the train, and then it was difficult for Samsuddin to collect the newspapers. So what he did, Abdul was the perfect filler. That means he asked Samsuddin asked Abdul to help him in collecting the newspaper. Samsuddin helped me earn my first wages. So now Samsuddin was indirectly, the helping hand to Abdul, because he used to collect when the newspapers were thrown from the train. Abdul used to collect the newspaper, and then he was paid for that. So Samsuddin, like the phrase says here, the sentence, it says Samsuddin helped me earn my first wages. So that was the first earning that he received by collecting the newspaper. And who was responsible for Abdul getting the first wages? Samsuddin. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. So now he says that after so many years, he still feels so happy, and he still feels so proud that at a very tender age he started earning, and the earning was by collecting the newspaper. So that was collecting the newspapers, and then he was paid for that by Samsuddin. So he says that was his first salary, and he is very happy about it, and he also feels very proud that he was able to, at that tender age, at the age of 8, he was able to earn his first wages. That means he got his first salary